Very good morning, students. Today we will continue with the remaining lecture of business laws. As we have started with the Companies Act 2013 yesterday, now continuing with that, we will start with the new topics, and we will cover the topic that we have already covered. So we will cover the topics just now, as we have discussed yesterday. Now I'm going to share the topics where we have left. We have just left yesterday here on this slide. We are discussing about the Companies Act 2013. In the Company Act 2013, we are generally discussing about the types of the company. There are the few examples of the type of the companies that we can. This is the how we can segregate the type of the companies. That what are the different type of the companies. Now, as we will continue, the first we are discussing about the private company. So, as we have already discussed, the private company was the company which is having the minimum share paid up share capital of 1 lakh or higher. It restricts the transfer of shares from the one person to another person. Then they are the limit of maximum number of members to is 200. So it cannot be beyond 200. So this 200 is the maximum limit. Next, it prohibits the invitation public to subscribe the shares, and this company can also it's not allowed to accept the deposit from the public. So this is the private company. Public company, I'm just giving the overview as we have already discussed these things in the last lecture. Now the company is when a public company, first of all, it must not have any features of the private company. So it will be no, it will be called as public company. Next, it must having the paid up capital of rupees 5 lakh or above. Then a private company is company which may be a subsidiary of a private company, which is a subsidiary of public company, is also known as the public company. OPC, as it is clear from the name, it is a one-person company. A company is having only one person as a member. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen can and resident of India can become the member or the nominee of the company. As it is clear from the name, it is a one-person company. So if the company is one-person company, it means that no, there was only a one member in that particular company. It is a one-man company. Next, it is mandatory to appoint nominee. Because why it is mandatory to appoint nominee? Because if in the case of death of the director of the company, in that case, as there was only one director, so he must appoint the nominee who will act in the absence of the director. Second, nominee name should be mentioned in MOA, that is memorandum of association. Next is the dormant company. As we have already discussed, company formed and registered under Companies Act. Now, dormant company is the company which is not the active company. Broadly, we say that a company which is not the active company. But for example, a company is registered under Companies Act 2013 for the future purpose or to hold assets and or intellectual property and having no significant activity. So this is called the it is called a dormant company or a one man company. Now here it can, if any company, if it want to be a dormant company, then it can be voluntary or it can be compulsory. Now voluntary is that if the company wants to register as a dormant company from the beginning, and mandate and the compulsory is in the case if the company fails to file a financial return for consecutive 2 years. In that case, the status of the company will be changed as to the dormant company by the registrar of companies. And to get the active status, the company has to file the MSC4, in that is the format to get the active status of the company. Now, Section 8, for company to get registered under Section 8, there must be following objective. First, has objective to promote commerce, art, science, sports, etc. First thing. Second, it intend to apply its profit into promotion. Now the company will apply its profit into promotion, and company will not use the profit in any another way. So this is called as a fly its profit into promotion. Next, it intend the probability of payment of dividend. So if the company is using its profit for the promotion, then it is clear that the company is not allowed to distribute the dividend. So if the company under Section 8 is registered, then the dividend, the distribution of dividend is prohibited under the Companies Act 2013. Next, so there are some conditions which are laid down by the central government. First, the company enjoy the privileges available to the private company. First thing. Second, a firm can become its member. Second thing, company should not change its MOA and AOA without prior notice of the without prior approval of the central government. So these are the companies under Section 8. The central government can withdraw the license if it violates any of the condition. If it violates, the central government may order to add private limited or limited it to its name. Both private limited and limited means the same. Next, government can change the management or ask the company to change the management, wind up merger. So here there is also a penalty if the company makes default, then a penalty of rupees 25 lakhs to 1 crore is there, and for director and officer in default, there will be a penalty of rupees 25,000 to 25 lakhs, and there may be also the 3-year imprisonment for the director or officer in charge or both. Now, foreign company, the company is defined to mean the foreign company or body corporated outside the India, as it is clear for the name. Now, till that we have already discussed yesterday. This is a brief overview of the yesterday's lecture. Now we will continue with our new topic, that is the formation of the company. The company can be formed by any company if you want to register in India or want to start his business in India. So it must have some, it must have to fulfill some complication, some, that is some legal formalities to become a company. So the company can be formed by any lawful purposes by. Now, what is the precondition for formation of company? First precondition is 7 or more person in case of public company and 2 or more person in case of private company. Whereas in case of public company, there is no limit on the maximum number of members or the shareholders. Whereas in the case of private company, there is a limit on the number of shareholders or the members. For example, in the case of private company, the maximum number of members can be 200 and minimum it can be 2. And in case of OPC, that is 1 person company, then it can be, there must be a 1 person only. Then the company is known as the OPC or 1 person company. Now the company can be of many types. First, company limited by shares, a holding company which is limited by shares and which has issued the shares. In the case of the company which is limited by shares, the liability of shareholders is limited up to the extent of the amount they have invested or the amount of the shareholding they are having in the company. So it is having, so in this they are having limited liabilities up to their shares. Now company limited by guarantee. Now it is the guarantee means the how much guarantee the major shareholders of the company has been given. For example, it in this the obligation of the company is to in the case of liquidation of the company, that is the compulsory liquidation of the company. So what should be the liability of the shareholders? So here the liability is up to the extent of the guarantee which has been given to the investors. Next, unlimited. A company, unlimited company is the company in which the shareholder is having the unlimited liability in the cases of the wind up. So it is generally, it depends on the status of the company. So it can be formed by any of the following ways. Next. Now, next important topic is MOAs. That is the memorandum of association. It is it is the basic things on which a company is registered. So the memorandum of association is all the legal things regarding the company. It is a document showing the for what the company is formed, what is the liability of the member, or detail of the shareholders, and all these things are defined in the memorandum of association of the company. So if we will starting with the MOA first. In case of MOA, the name of company should be there and it should be defined in the format that is INC1. Next, the state of the registered office. Now, again, the full detail of the state in which the office is registered and the address and the registered address of the company should be defined in the MOA. Third is the objective of the company. That what is the basic objective of the company for which the company is being formulated. So this is the another important thing. Next is the liability of the member. Now here, as we have already discussed about the liability of the member, that the how much liability is there. Is the company is having unlimited liability, or is it is having limited liability, or is it the company is limited by the guarantee. So it here it depends that how the company is being financed. Next, detail of the share capital. Now, detail of the share capital means that how much capital being will belongs to its equity share capital, how much amount of capital will belongs to the preferred shareholders, and what is the liability of the shareholders, and how much amount is being called and being paid up. So, are the shares fully paid up or they are partially paid up? So, all the details of the share capital that the company is having. Next, the name of nominee in case of OPC. Now, here, as we have already discussed, the OPC is the company in which there is only a one person. So, in case of the death of the person, so it is mandatory under the Companies Act 2013 to appoint a nominee, so that in case of the director or the executive of or the person running the company, who will be the main director if he dies, then who will proceed him or her in case in his absence. So here the nominee must be defined and appointed in case of OPC. Now the next is MOA of the company shall be in respective forms A, B, C, D, E in Schedule 1. So this is just a brief overview I am giving. I will explain all these things one by one in detail as we move forward with the subject. So this is a brief introduction of the topic which we have started yesterday. That is the Companies Act 2013, because this is the full-fledged act itself. So we have to study various things in this act. So this is the introduction part. In this PPT is the introduction part, and we will discuss these all these things in elaborated form. Now, what is INC one? I will explain this in the elaborated form. What is the objective of the company? In which section it has been written? I will explain all these things. So all these things to be explained one by one. So I will explain these things with their section and subsection in the upcoming lectures. So till here we are just giving an overview of the topic, and further if there is any doubts regarding this, we can again discuss them. So we are going to discuss all these things in the detail. Now moving forward to the next. Now what is the liability of the member? So here I have just prepared a slide to just give a overview about that. What is the liability means? So the liability means, if we are discussing about the company limited by shares. So here the liability of the shareholder is maximum to the amount or the number of shares they have bought, and that is up to the maximum up to the face value of the share or the market value of the share, whichever is applicable at the time of liquidation. Next, the company limited by guarantee having share. Now, if the company is limited by guarantee and is having the share, then the maximum amount is up to the paid up share capital that is granted by the shareholders. And unlimited company is the company in which there is a unlimited liability of the shareholders, as that shareholder has to bear all the losses and things that in the case of liquidation of the company. Now, what is the AOA? Now, first, all the things object why the company is formulated is being written in the memorandum of association. An article of association of the company is in the continuation of MOA, or it is a just article association is one which contain the rules and regulations of the company, that on which rules, regulation, ethics, all these things are defined in the articles of association. Next, now what should it should not contain the clause that company can't introduce any new rules. So it should not be written in the clause that company can't introduce new rule, because article of association is the thing which can be altered in the annual general meeting after passing a special resolution. So AOAs of the company can be articles of association of the company can be modified, but it should not be written like in the company that the company cannot alter AOAs. Next, provision of entrenchment in form of INC 2 or 7 in case of new company, from MGT 14 in case of existing company. So it is that forms we will explain in these in detail in upcoming slides. Next, article of association shall be in respective of the form number FGHIJ in schedule 1 of the Companies Act 2013. So this is the next. Next is the application for the name of the company. Now it is clearly defined in the Companies Act 2013 that the name of the company should be unique. It should not be identical to any existing company. Why? There is a reason that so that the names cannot be misused to lure the person do the or to do the misrepresentation to the person using the identical name. So the an identical name is prohibited under the Companies Act 2013. So the company will only get the registration if the name of company was unique. So before applying for the formulation of the company, the name of the company must be clearly defined and it should be clearly decided by its directors before the commencement of the business. So in this application should be made in form INC1 along with prescribed fees to registrar of company for the reservation. First thing, after if the documents were satisfied and the name applied is available, registrar will hold it for the period of 60 days. Now, why there is a time of 60 days? There was a, as I have already discussed, firstly, the registrar of company after the application will see that the name which you have applied is available or not. If the name is already taken up by some another company, in that case, you have to give a new name for the company because the name which because that name has been already used. And according to the Companies Act 2013, a person cannot use the name of the company which is already in existence to start a new business. So in that case, if the documents were satisfied and the name for which you have applied for the name, as there was a huge connection, so I will continue with the topic where we have left. So here, if the name of company is available with the registrar, in that case, and if the registrar satisfied that the name is available and no existing name is there in the market, so it will hold this for the period of 60 days. Why there is the 60 period of 60 days? Because at that time it has been published in the published and there was a waiting period that the so here the registrar in this case, so the registrar will check that is the name is available with the registrar or not. So this is the time initial time of 60 days was taken here to hold the name and the before the starting before giving the certificate of registration or certificate of incorporation to the company. Next, where reservation is found in the case where the reservation is found that the name was applied using wrong information. So if it are and if it is satisfied, then after 60 days your application will be processed further by the registrar of the company. So and in case where after the reservation of that reservation means the period of 60 days which is held by the registrar of company for the detailed investigation. So in that time, if it is found that the name that was applied using the wrong information, in that case, first thing is the company is non-incorporated, then the registrar will cancel the reservation and person applied for the name will be penalized up to rupees 1 lakh. For example, it is proved that you have applied using the wrong information. In that case, there was a penalty of rupees 1 lakh, which a registrar of company can impose on you, and it will cancel the reservation in case that it is non-corporated. The company is not corporated, so the further processing for the incorporation of company will be stopped. Next, second, if the company is incorporated, the registrar may now if the company is already incorporated and you have applied using the wrong information or the misleading information with the registrar of the company, in that case, there was some of the powers that are with the registrar of company, and he will use that powers to to mm, 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 in the following ways, or it will cancel the incorporation. It uses his or her power to cancel the certificate of incorporation. Now, the other actions that may be taken by the registrar are: first, either direct the company to change the name within 30 days. If it is found that the name of the company, the name this is with some of the identical name of another company, and it is found that after 60 days, it is found that after the incorporation of the company, the registrar found that the name of the company is identical to the some existing company, then he may ask the company to change the name within 30 days. Second, take action to remove the company name from the register of the company. He may also take action to remove the name of the company from. If the name of the company is removed from the register of the company, it directly means that the incorporation is withheld or it is assumed to be cancelled. So here, the registrar of the company may cancel the registration. Second, make a petition for winding up of the company. In the last, if it is found that there is no chances of correction in this subject matter, that is regarding name or for the incorporation of company, then may he ask the company directors of the company to wind up the company, because there is a no chance of correction, so it may happen. Next is the incorporation. Now, first we are discussing about the name. Now, how the company is incorporated. Now, the following document should be filled with the registrar, within whose jurisdiction the registrar office of the company is proposed to be situated. For example, if the person want to establish a head of the office of the company in the NCR, that is National Capital Region of Delhi. So here, she should apply it for the person who is in that particular jurisdiction only. So the jurisdiction is the area under which the registrar is having a right or power to start given instructions to start the company. So here, first of thing, all these documents are to be submitted to the registrar of the company in whose jurisdiction you want to start the company. Next, so first, the main important document is your duly signed MOA and AOA. That is what should be the memorandum of association. That is objective of the main objective of the company, which is written in the MOA for what the company will manufacture, what the company will sell, all these things, and articles of association. That is rules and regulations regarding the company. Let's take an example that your financial policies, your HR policies, are these policy are in according with the that is Factories Act or not. Fine. All these things on all the rules and regulations which under which the company will be governed is comes under the EOS, that is the Articles of Association. Now declaration in INC 8, that is the form number, that is INC 8. Affidavit, that is the format INC 9. These all are the formats INC 8, INC 9. These all are the formats under the Companies Act 2013. So these must be given along with the said documents. Next, address of the correspondence. Now, address of the correspondence is also, it may also be same as the registered address of the company, or it may be different from the permanent address of the company. But the address of correspondence, the company's office must exist in the date when the company has applied for the registration under for with the registrar to get it incorporated. So in this case, the address for the correspondence must be there, and it must be supported by the valid proofs. Next, ID proof of the every subscriber. In case of the shareholders, if for example, if we take the company example of the private company, so if in the case of private company there are, we can set that the minimum 2 and maximum there must be 200 shareholders. So here the ID proof of each subscriber of your shareholders must be with you before applying for the company. Next, ID proof of the directors. Now the directors are the persons who are the actual controller of the company. So they are controlling the company, and they are having all the rights to for, rights for the functioning of the company. So here the ID proof of the directors must, if there are minimum 2 number of directors, 3 number of directors, 7 number of directors, so according to the number of directors, the ID proof of directors must be given. Next, interest of the first director in other company. If there is interest, if any interest of the first director is having in any another company, then it should also be clearly defined, because in future if it is found that if it may be declared that the company may be sham, or it may be it is a company which is formulated for the tax evasion purposes or etc. So here, to avoid these things, the interest of the first director in other companies must be clearly defined. Next, registrar on the basis of document provided shall register the company and issue the COI, that is a certificate of incorporation, if it is find that all the information given is satisfactory and to the mark. Next, after registration, registrar will provide CIN number, that is your corporate identification number, with which will be printed in the certificate of the incorporation. Now, with CIN is the unique number, that is a unique registration number which is given to the company at the time of registration. So this is just like a ID of the person. For example, if the person is holding a PAN card, so that is the ID of the person, as the or your date of birth certificate. Your that is CIN number is CIN certificate or certificate of incorporation is just like a just like a birth certificate of a natural person. So it is also called as the birth certificate of the corporation or the company. Next, company has to maintain all documents in the registered of it, and it should be provided whenever it should be presented to the authorities whenever it is asked to do so. Next, default in incorporation of the company. So if any default is done during the incorporation of the company, if person knowingly gives the false information for the incorporation, then he will be liable for the action under section 447. This we will discuss later on, what is the section 447 and what are the penalties, what is the punishments that can be given to the individual or the person who knowingly make a false information or the false statement in the application form for the incorporation of the company. Second, after incorporation is, if after incorporation it is found that the given false information, the promoter, first director, person making declaration shall be liable under the section 447. So all these things are given under the section 447, that what should be the liabilities. So here it is just a brief overview of the Companies Act 2013, and what are the terms we are going to discuss in this. So this is the overview or the introduction session or the lecture for this, and we will start uh, with the proper explanation of the topic, that is the kind of companies, in the next lecture. So this is just the introduction part. Now we will start with the another topic under this part, that is the type of the companies. So here we have just discussed the name and the overview of the type of the company. Again, in the next upcoming lectures we will discuss in detail that how and what are the under what section what is written under the Company Act 2013, and what are the liabilities, what are the punishments, how the company is incorporated, so which form means what and what it contains, and what is the content of the affidavit. So we will discuss all these things in the detail in upcoming lectures. Uh, if you are having any problem in this introduction part, you can send a feedback, or you can comment on the video that I will be posting, or you can send a WhatsApp message if you are having any problem. Thank you.